In this video, I am going to share the information on random functions, conditional sums, advanced mathematical functions, and we will just go through with matrix function and trigonometric functions, which provided by math and trigonometric functions in MS Excel. So by this video we comes to the end of mathematical functions also. So let us see in detail. First one is random functions. Under the random functions, the MS Excel provides two built-in functions like rand and rand between. As you can see here also, I illustrated the examples of rand and rand between also. So what is a rand function? Rand function returns a random number between 0 to 1. So random function, the syntax of random function is simply equals rand of open parenthesis and close parenthesis. So this random function does not have any arguments to be passed. So it will returns a random real numbers between 0 and 1. So this is what it generated here also. And by the time when any action is making on this Excel sheet, this random value will be changed since it is generated randomly. If I clicked on any of the other cell with any type, then I click enter, you can see that the random number has changed. So the main problem or a benefit of random number is it can be a problem for sometimes and it can be a benefit for some time. So that is why I said a problem or a benefit of random number is when we click on enter key, the random numbers will automatically change by pressing these enter keys. So you will not get the same or the constant value as random value when we use rand function. So the next example, let's look on next example. If we want to generate a random number between 0 and 100 by using rand function, then we can give the formula like this: 100 into rand function. So this will returns a random number between 0 and 100. Next one is if we want to generate a random number between a lower limit and an upper limit, then we have to enter the formula like this. So this will be the starting limit and this will be the ending limit. So it will generate a random numbers between 0.8 and 1.2 using the rand function. But this is a difficult task, right? By giving an lower limit and upper limit like this and using this formula, it might be a problem if we do not have any logic to how to give this lower limit or upper limit. What is the formula we have to use? So if we are not aware of this kind of things, then we can use rand between. Rand between is a random number generation between two limits. It can be a upper limit and a lower limit. So here you can see that I generated a random number in between 1 to 10. For that I have to type equals rand between, just type 1 comma 10. So this will generate a random number between 1 and 10. If you want to generate a list of random numbers, just move on to this point icon at the end of a cell and just drag it down. Also you can move left to right or something like that, in which manner you have to generate the list. You can go like that, you can move the cursor like that, and you can generate random numbers also. Here also you can do the same by dragging the cursor to somewhat points. So that also you can generate random numbers. So as you can see that the rand between generate a random number, list of random numbers with selected columns between 1 and 10. Here you never see a number which is greater than 10, since we entered upper limit as 10 and lower limit as 1. So you will never get any number less than 1 and greater than 10. But you can generate a list of random numbers by just dragging the cursor like this. And here also I generated a random number between 0 and 1. Then I just drag the cursor to the right hand side of this Excel, and it generate a list of or a 4 more randomly generated numbers between 0 and 1. So these are the two functions which we will use in under the random function. Next category is conditional sums. Under this conditional sums, we have two functions, sum if and sum if s. Simply a sum function will be used to find out the sum of a range equals sum of a cell range from A2 to A5, like that. But we never pass any condition on sum function. So if we want to pass any criteria or a condition, then we have to use sum if or sum if s. So under what condition we have to use sum if, and under what condition we have to use sum if s, that we will learn now. So what is the difference between sum and sum if, or sum and sum if s? Sum is used only to find out the total of a particular range of cells, which we will never pass any condition on sum function. But if we want to pass any condition or a criteria, then we have to use sum if or sum if s. So sum if will apply only if we have to pass a single condition, and with that condition we have to find out the sum. Then we can use sum if. And sum if s is used when we have multiple conditions to find out the sum. Then we can use sum if s. So let us see in detail. So here we have a data of a sales report of few region. So here I am going to use sum if first. So here I am going to find out the total profit. Okay, the total profit of online sales channel only. So my condition is, before that we will just check whether the sum function, sum of the total profit. So this resulted the sum of total profit without any condition, right? But my question is how to find out the total profit of online sales channel. So here we have offline and online sales channel. We have to find out the total profit of online sales channel only. Then my condition is online, right? And we have to find out the sum of total price. So I am going to find out using sum if function. So sum if, you can see the syntax here. We have to pass a range, which means under which range we have to find out the, we have to compare the criteria. So first we have to send the range of criteria. So my criteria range is the sales channel, right? So I selected the first row of sales channel till the last. Okay, then comma, then I have to send the criteria. My criteria was online mode, online sales channel. So I text or typed the online sales channel. Then sum range, the third argument is sum range. We have to find out the total profit of online sales channel, right? So my sum range is from the first column of total profit, that is K6 to K27. So bracket close and I entered. So when I press enter key, it will result the total profit of online sales channel only. So this is the answer. So we can verify it with the function which we have already learned in the previous video, subtotal. Okay, subtotal comma, we have to find out the sum of total profit, right? So I am giving sum comma, then before that I have to filter the table first. Okay, so what was my condition? I have to find out online mode first, and I have to find out the total profit of online mode only. So as you can see that in this table we have only online sales channel now. So we have to find out the sum total of this, right? So I am typing subtotal of 9 comma, since we have to find out the sum, I referred function number as 9, then reference value is total profit column. So I selected like this and I entered. So here you can see that the values are same. So in this manner also we can verify. So by using subtotal function and also by using SUMIF, we can compare and verify whether the answer is correct or not. Okay, so now let's change to offline and online mode. Okay, now we covered the SUMIF, what is the purpose of SUMIF and how to do SUMIF. Okay, I hope you all got the clear idea on SUMIF. Now let us move on SUMIF S. So SUMIF S is adds the cells in a supplied range that satisfy multiple criteria. So it will check multiple condition. So in SUMIF we just passed only the offline sales channel as condition and find out the sum of total price. So here for SUMIF S, I am going to check two conditions like sales channel should be online and item type should be cloth. Okay, since we have online for cloth and offline for cloth, so we can just check whether like this. Okay, so we are sending two conditions like sales channel as online and item type as cloth. So let us try with SUMIF S. So SUMIF S. So the first argument is sum range. So first argument is sum range. So we have to pass a numerical array or cell range. So I am passing the total profit range as the first argument. Since we are calculating the sum range, since we are calculating the sum function, we have to pass a numeric cell values. So I pass total profit as first argument. Next argument is criteria range 1. So we have to pass another range of our first condition. So what was the first condition? We have to check whether the sales channel is online or not. So our criteria range is this sales channel cell range. So it begins from D6 to D27. Next I have to pass the criteria. So what was my criteria? Online was my criteria for the first criteria range. So now I passed the sum range as first argument, that is total profit cell range. Then the criteria range 1 as my criteria 1. That is my criteria 1 was I have to select only the online sales channel. So I passed criteria range as sales channel range from D6 to D27. Then I passed the condition online. After that put comma. Next we are going to give the second condition. Okay, so my second condition was I have to select the cloth item type. So I am selecting this item type column. So I have to send the cell range as item type range, that is starting from C6 to C27, comma, within double quotes, clothes. Okay, so now I passed two condition, and also I have to find out the sum of total profit. I have passed these three things on SUMFS and I press enter. So here is the output. This is also can be verified using the subtotal function. So for that I am going to select or filter my table with clothes only and sales channel with online only. And I'm just finding out, yeah, here you can see the result also. The subtotal of this is similar as SUMIFS that we just calculated. So in this manner also you can verify SUMIFS using the subtotal function. So this is the conditional sums. Okay, the next one is some advanced mathematical functions. So under the advanced mathematical operations we have 4 functions. We have 2 more functions, but in this video we are focusing only on these 4 functions. First one is sum product, second sum square, third sum x2 my2, sum x2 py2. Okay, so what is a sum product? Sum product returns the sum of the products of corresponding values in 2 or more supplied areas. So as you can see that this is our table or the values. Okay, let me highlight this first. Okay, so this is the value that we are going to apply with sum product, sum SQ, sum x2 my2 and sum x2 py2. So under the sum product we have the arguments like array 1, array 2, array 3, etc. So here we have only 2 array. This is array 1 and this is array 2. Okay, 1, 2, 3 as array 1, 5, 6, 4 as array 2. So sum product will find out the sum of products, that is 1 into 5, first element from first array into first element from second array, plus second element from first array into second element from second array, plus third element from first array into third element from second array. So this is how sum product works, and it resulted as 29. Here you can see this 1 into 5 plus 2 into 6 plus 3 into 4. This is what the sum product did in this first cell. The next is I am passing another array along with this array, that is 2, 4, 1. So by passing this the formula like this, that is first array comma second array comma next array as within the curly brace 2 semicolon 4 semicolon 1 curly brace close and the bracket close. This will consider as 2, 4, 1 as next array, that is 2, 4, 1 like this. But implicitly we are not passing the array range here. Instead of that we are just implicitly passing the array within the function of sum product. So this will again multiply the value of third array along with the first and second array, that is first element of first array into first element of second array into the first element of this array, that is 2, plus 2 into 6 into second element of So 1 into 5 into 2, 2 into 6 into 4, 3 into 4 into 1. So this is what in the second cell of sum product performed. What is third? Third is also passing an implicit array along with the sum product function, but here the first two elements are numeric and the third element is a string. So a string value will be treated as 0. So here what is happening when we give sum product as the function on formula bar? It will again 1 into 5 into 2 plus 2 into 6 into 4 plus 3 into 4 into 0. Since text is not a numeric value, it is a string value, so it will be treated as a 0 value. So this is what it is performed in the third cell. So sum product is the sum of product of each element from each array. Okay. Next is sum SQ, that is sum of squares. So it returns the sum of the squares of a supplied list of numbers. So here see, I just passed first array as range. Okay. So sum SQ of D9 to D11, that is this D9 to D11. The values are 1, 2, 3. So sum SQ will do 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square. Okay. So sum square is sum of squares of supplied list of numbers. That is 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square. If we passed sum SQ of E9 to E11, then what will be the output? 5 square plus 6 square plus 4 square. Okay. So it will find out the sum of squares of supplied list of numbers. Then what is sum x2 m y2? It returns the sum of the difference of squares of corresponding values into two supplied arrays. So here is the example, sum x2 of D9 to D11 and E9 to E11. So these are the array, and what is performing in this function? That is 1 square minus 5 square. That is the square of first element of array 1 minus the first element of square of first element of second array plus second element of first array square minus square of second element of second array plus third element of first array and its square plus minus square of third element of second array. Okay. So we can just if we give simply an equals sign here and we press enter, we can verify the answers are correct or not. So when I clicked equal sign here, the answer is same, right? So this is the action which is performed behind this function. So when I put equal sign in front of this, also we will get the answer as minus 63. See? So this is what it is performing in this function. Then what is sum x2 p y2? It returns the sum of squares of corresponding values in two supplied arrays. So in sum x2 m by 2, it was the difference. Okay, it was the difference of squares, but here it will be the sum. So only the difference is sum x2 m y2 is doing the difference of squares of each values of each array, and here it doing the sum of squares of each value of each array. So it is 1 square plus 5 square plus 2 square plus 6 square plus 3 square plus 4 square, and it resulted as 91. Let us check whether the answer and the action is correct or not by just simply putting an equal sign in front of this formula. Yeah, it is. So this is the action which is happening behind the function of sum x2 p by 2. So we also have mathematical matrix operations also. So we are not going in detail with this function, but you should aware of these functions also, that to find out the determinant of a matrix, inverse of a matrix, matrix multiplication and unit matrix, which is also provided by MS Excel. And there is a huge list of trigonometric functions also, which you guys will not use for any purpose, I hope so, but you should be aware with these trigonometric functions also, because Excel is providing trigonometric functions as well as matrix functions also. Okay, so here comes the end of our first topic, mathematical functions of MS Excel. Thank you so much for listening, and do practice with these functions and try